the system of Islamic medicine, which we are talking about today, and also other systems of healings globally. That is why I decided to place my topic on Islamic remedies, indigenous plans for health and wealth creation. Because it's not only enough to talk about healthy nation should be a wealthy nation. At the end of this program, we should be able to have something to take home, practically, especially as mothers. What has been learned here today, how can I implement it? Because knowledge is best when it is implemented. You know, when the Lord said to the angel that I am going to place a humankind, generation after generation on earth, the angels complained, but he said, I know what you don't know. That's why he taught Adam the names of everything and allowed Adam and Eve to eat everything except that tree. That is to show you that Almighty Allah provided us with things that are natural and good for us, right from the beginning of his creation. One tends to talk about Islamic medicine. You cannot talk about Islamic remedies without knowing medicine. Medicine is the art of knowing the disease and knowing how to manage the disease. But the application of the product, which is the drug or food or herbs, makes it easier. As we go along, we'll see that in the aspect of prophetic medicine, what this has to say. I tend to say, how did Islamic medicine come to be? We need to have a kind of small information on that. We're told that early Islamic scholars learned from the Greek people. And then we were told there were good scholars like Ibn Khaldun, a well-known Muslim socialist in his Muqaddimah, was definitely talking about the act of Arab medicine. You see, just like every tradition, it has its own traditional medicine. I have to use the word traditional medicine because what is traditional to you is your medicine. Forget about the other side of the thinking that is wrong. But everybody has his own traditional. The Islamic medicine has its own traditional. We as Africans have our own traditional medicine because our people were using these medicines to heal our people. But what is important is that the early Islamic scholars tried to understand the Greek way of healing and apply their own, using their own reasoning and what they observe. And with that, you can imagine they have a double knowledge. What they have learned, they also apply it, and what they see, they combine it. Unlike today, we only talk about strictly orthodox. The moment you don't talk about orthodox medicine, they believe you don't know anything. But time has come that for those of us who are scholars, if you know about orthodox medicine, it's important you open your mind to learn other aspects of medicine. You become a unique healer or a unique doctor or a unique pharmacist, or like we say, the therapists that have qualified today. It said Islam medicine went through stages. There were 3 stages in Islamic medicine. Like I said the earlier on of the translation from the Greek and then the medical books into Arabic. Then there were Muslim physicians, after studying and understanding the foreign work, they put their own knowledge. And during that era, they emerged very competent scholars. Al-Razi is one of them. He emphasized more importantly on preventive medicine. He talked about eating good food in moderation, drink, physical activity, improve environmental conditions, adopting an active, healthy lifestyle, avoiding sins and evil acts. We were told he established a hospital in Baghdad. He used meat and tried to tie the meat in different locations in Baghdad. And then what he did, he discovered that where the meat had least contamination, he established the first hospital there. So you can see science has been there. Today we are bound to see that the real medicine came from the history of Islamic medicine. As a scholar, we are here to say, yes, this is what they did, but now science has said that is what they did is right. And that is why for us that are scientists, we don't need to discredit any kind of therapies. What we need to do is to understand the basis of that therapy. One of the popular scholars we all talk about, my colleagues talk about, Ibn Sina, Abyssinian. He wrote his book in Al-Qalun, The Law, where he was talking about healing. And then the works of the scholars, the Islamic scholars, was translated into Latin and taken to the Western world. And they were so smart. You see, they come here, copy what you have done, and go and copy it and make it for you to come back. So this is what they did in the early years of Islamic medicine. They acquired that knowledge, and it was booming. Islamic medicine was booming. We had Islamic physicians who were well competent and were able to manage diseases. In the 18th century, they emerged from 18th century to 15th century. That was what led to the emergence of prophetic medicine, because the Greek medicine was now becoming an alternative. What they have learned, the Europeans have taken from us. Now, the Islamic scholars who were competent and mostly were religious leaders were able to combine the knowledge, and including Quranic knowledge, to be able to talk more about. They were able to talk more about Islamic medicine, because Islamic medicine regards man as a sacred entity consisting of body and soul. The soul originates from the divine spirituality. The ultimate aim of healing psychological ailments such as hatred, envy, attachment to material life, anger, and hostility were known as diseases of the heart. So you cannot heal somebody who has a disease of the heart and telling him you are going to give him a physical cure. You have to remove the diseases of the heart before you can now affect the physical ailment. That is what Islamic medicine has exposed us to. So let me come to example of what we do. If you know you do corruption, you steal somebody's money, and the moment you are stealing the money or trying how to steal the money, you are ready quickly to go and prepare the files to get that money. Some of us, you start panting and getting hypertension. Then you think the antihypertensive drugs will work for you. No, the best remedy is to stop that so that that soul is healed. And then you can now apply the physical one. You may not even need to apply the physical one. The solution may be to the spiritual one. And that is the importance of Islamic medicine. And in those days, they emphasized more on nourishment. Nourishment has to do with food. Even the modern scientists, we are all medical people. There is an oath we swore by. We say the Hippocratic oath. You know what he said? He said, let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. You can see that. We try to emphasize food first as medicine. Then, when you use foods as medicine, you find that the nourishing diets may help to recover the ailment. But where it doesn't work, then we now look at even the drugs. So one will say that the prophetic medicine has a divine element in it. The physicians who use it are mostly religious scholars, and they have knowledge of the heart and soul and methods of treatment. That is why you see the scholars today. I'm sure it was not just ordinary reading the therapy, but reading the spiritual aspect of the therapy to be able to apply it appropriately. We're told that moral values is a cure. Moral values, love, courage, patience, kindness was prescribed as best remedies for inner self. Prayer was important, connecting yourself to Allah. All these are preventive medicine. In the period of 10th century to 17th century, Islamic medicine became a decline. You know why? The allopathic medicine came in. Don't forget, they stole all the knowledge of the Islamic medicine and took it to their own and interpreted it in Latin. That is why at times today, in modern medicine, we see Latin language. It was because of this form of copying. And we think that the Western world has the solution to everything, not knowing that as Muslims, we should be able to sort Islamic knowledge and look at Islamic remedies to be able to help our people. My colleague has talked about mostly prophetic medicine were mostly in 400 traditions. Well, what is important that the prophet told us to be good and to maintain a healthy lifestyle, physically, psychologically, and spiritually. In modern medicine, we say health, what is it? It's a complete state of physical, mental, social, and even spiritual being. You can see the relationship with that. Just few quotes. O servant of God, use medicine because God has not created a pain without creating a remedy. Truly, the worshippers of Allah will receive medicine, for he has not allowed any disease that exists without having a remedy. The use of medicine is decreed by God. The concept of incurable disease is alien to Islam. We have heard the speakers today. If you believe in God, whatever ailment you have, you know, when we modern scientists say cancer has no cure, a person, I don't believe that. Or HIV has no cure. That is typically orthodox. If you bring in your religion, talk to God, as God has said, we must have that strong faith, because some of us here too are bound to say it has no cure. Then you have not recognized your faith. Rather, ask Allah to direct you to get the cure. And there are people God has destined to be able to treat and cure any ailment that is so desired. Like I have said, let me just quickly talk about the remedies. I've told you the history of Islamic medicine, how it came. The Western world came and took some from us, but we kept on, and the scholars came in and were able to uplift Islamic medicine. Even till today, like she has said, in Malaysia, in other countries, Pakistan, they tend to have a combination of both. What is important is that it is important for us to understand the disease, as some scholars of Islam, Qayyum said, understand the disease and search for the true cause of the disease. If a patient is strong enough to fight the disease, even without medication, we call it psychotherapy. You could be strong, you have the disease. Don't give up that disease will not be cured. You must have faith in God. When you have faith in God, and that is why do some of us have more faith in the physician than God? Don't you think it's a wrong approach? Rather, you should have faith in God before he uses the physician to treat you. And then prescribing medications, like I said, we take the option of food. We must recognize our foods that are medicines. This is what I've all along been preaching. Because when you use foods and medicines, you are less likely to use our synthetic drugs. Because any synthetic drug, including paracetamol, is a poison. And once they say something is poison, that means it is to be used with care. In every drug, you see they say side effects, because there is the other side of it. Doctors should know the sickness of the heart and soul. Because more importantly, you see a lot of people have hypertension, diabetes, cancer. Tell one of them, call them, talk to your God. What have I done that I have this disease? I'm sure most of you will be able to give yourself answers. When you steal people's money that is meant for road construction, when you steal people's money that is meant to provide services in the hospital, when you steal people's money that is meant for medication, that is a disease, and a very strong disease. Don't rely on the physician to heal you. You go back to God and ask God to heal you. So this is part of a lot that has been said about Islamic medicine. We talk about cleanliness. She has said it. You know, when we have just gone to pray, do you know that is part of Islamic medicine? You washed your hands, you performed the ablution. After the ablution, you had a feeling of being healthy. Am I right? Because the ablution stimulated you, and you had to be clean to present yourself to God. So, down in modern medicine, we put hand wash. Wash your hands so that you don't have cholera, so that you don't have any diseases. That was Islamic medicine, translated into modern medicine. She has said some example, but it's important to reaffirm, like we have talked about the suwak, which the Prophet said it is a remedy for oral hygiene and for protecting dental health. What is important is this, that this was said so many years ago, hundreds and thousands of years ago. Now we are saying go for dental treatment. Like she has said, the composition in suwak, which was not taken into the laboratory to be analyzed like we do today. The Prophet told us it was useful because he was the omniscience. He knew the science which man did not know. Man is only confirming the science now. And man cannot prove to be better than the Prophet. So I want to emphasize on the knowledge of Islamic medicine. For all of us, whether you are a pharmacist, whether you are a doctor, whether you are a nurse, it will give you that special recognition to be able to manage health and be unique. We have said a lot about dates. But I like to say that, you know, when people want to break the fast, they eat dates. because it gives you an immediate glucose. It is absorbed easily by the liver and the brain, and it goes to the nervous system. It's good to replace this with the chocolates you are eating. These things will have your children have dental issues. But when you use dates on them, it gives them the health, and it also gives them the spiritual feeling that we had about this. Lemon. You know, we have lemon all over. The prophet used to gaze at the lemon. He will say, oh, the citrus fruit is like a true believer with good taste and good scent. You can imagine that. And this is one of the scholars, Ibn al-Qayyum, said there are many benefits in the lemon. The skin, the flesh, the juice, the seeds, they are pleasant to the smell of the air. We use it a lot today, either as cosmetics or in medicine. Even the cover of the lemon is very useful. It contains a substance called limonene, which has antiseptic effect on the skin. So it is excellent to say that science has proven what Islamic medicine has said many years ago. So there is no big deal about science. All we need to recognize is that we should know. I was able to expose myself to learning plant medicine. When I learned plant medicine, I needed to go further to read prophetic medicine, because I noticed that the plant medicine I was reading were mentioned in prophetic medicine. So I look at the prophetic medicine, look at the plant medicine or the indigenous medicine or the medicine we have, and I saw that all are the same. But what we need to do is how to be able to combine them and apply them appropriately. We know pumpkins. Pumpkins, we have a lot of that is kabewa in Hausa. Pumpkin is very rich. The prophet used to tell Aisha that if you want to prepare casserole, make sure you add more of the pumpkin. And that pumpkin is known now is good in the management of prostate cancer, or when you have enlargement of the prostate. It's a diet that helps because it is rich in zinc, which is needed, which is depleted when you have issues with prostate cancer. So they've been able to understand the use, even in a journal, 1985, with a study carried out at National Cancer Unit, it indicates that it protects against lung cancer in New Jersey, in United States. So it strengthens the immune system and protects against cancer. When we talk of cancer, it's not a death sentence. What is saying, the wrong food, the wrong lifestyle has combined, has resulted in an aggregation of disease, which we now say, what causes cancer? Nobody knows the cause. But we have facilitating factors: smoking, drinking, so many other things, unhealthy lifestyles. But we have discovered that those foods we have ignored, those foods we used to eat. You see your grandfathers living 100 years, 80 years, producing many children. And most men today cannot produce children. You have a lot of problem with your libido. You go to the hospital, they say low sperm count. It is because of your healthy lifestyle, non-healthy lifestyle. You need to eat these nourishing diets. Women, as mothers, as wives, you must learn to prepare the nourishing dishes for your husband, just like Nana Aisha used to do for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I want to talk about some of the foods that we have that we don't know they are medicine. Bread is universal. Grains, these grains, we have grains. God has blessed us with grains. And these grains are very useful. We are able to eat these grains to give us nourishing. And most of the grains, you know, you have wheat, you have rice. All these are good grains because they contain a lot of fiber. And some of these fibers are even soluble fibers. And then that is why the prophet used to ask a nourishing diet to be prepared called talbina. Talbina had a lot of nourishing diet in it. The wheat combined together, it is a traditional Arab diet, which was useful. I've said about wheat. We now have wheat we eat, so we should encourage ourselves. We have these traditional dishes, al-kubus. All these things that we use our wheat for, go back to it. You know, people in these days in our homes, those mothers that keep on giving their children Indomil should be queried by their husbands. You don't come to tell your child Indomil. Marriages are broken today because we don't know how to teach our children to prepare foods. They cannot give the husbands the nourishing dish. There is too much oil in the food. Instead of learning, kuka, the kuka soup we eat, if you know the medicinal value of kuka, I'm sure you will love to eat it every day. And nor do you talk of this fruit from the kuka, which has a lot of vitamin C. The West come to take the kuka and go eat there and give you vitamin C. But God has given us the original one. So we need to learn more, and I'm glad this is an opportunity for us to be able to cherish what we have for the benefit of our people. You know, corn is rich. When it is in season, Almighty Allah has blessed us. When there is a particular season, He gives us a particular food. That is the first medicine. If you don't know how to use those foods, then you have a problem. Or if we overprocess the foods, they are not healthy for us. And I just want to mention, I don't want to say, repeat myself for what she has said. But you know, I talk about indigenous medicine. I look at science. You know what the early scientists said? There was a great scientist in the 16th century called Paracelsus. He said, against every ill, there is a herb that grows. He's not a Muslim, but he said so. He said, your meadows and your pastures shall be your pharmacy. You know what I mean by that? Outside there, around the environment, the trees there, the plants there, a remedy for you. But it's only the one who is cognizant of it that can apply the remedy. So you can see that even the Bible, it quoted that there are 40 plants, medicinal plants quoted in the Bible. I'm sure you've heard that the Christians will tell you that the gift given to Jesus Christ when he was born, myrrh, frankincense, which is lamba zakar. Am I right? It's there outside being sold. This is a plant, this is a gum exudate that the prophet used to take early in the morning. They soak the lamba zakar by early in the morning. It solidifies, it's gelatinous, and you take it. It improves mental memory. And he has said that we can burn it in our homes. So, having said that, we look at some herbal medicines that we have. You must not only think of the foreign medicines. You must think of your own. If you don't think about your indigenous plants, then we have not believed in what God has said. For every cure, he puts the remedy. I'm sure we are used, she has talked about pomegranate, black cumin, basil, thyme, rosemary, cardamom, anise. Eucalyptus is there. We all have it. Aloe vera, dill, garlic, onions, moringa. Today is the story of moringa. I started the story of moringa as far back as 1996. When I used to talk on my program called Nature's Pharmacy on TV, I had this power of intuition that moringa was a rich diet and it was useful for the benefit of people. She has said about ginger, I don't need to repeat it, but I need to say senna and dill because it is important you purge yourself. What do I mean by purge? I'm not asking you to go and get diarrhea and you start knowing. It is important that at times we detoxify ourselves. You have eaten so much foods that are not good. You have taken so much oily foods. It is said that the prophet used to recommend that you use senna. We call it senna in Hausa. We have it filasco. But you mix it with either dill or anise to reduce the pain that you have in the stomach so that you can be able to flush your system and improve your health. Vegetables are important. Let's look at our cucumber, carrots, mushrooms, pear, garden egg. These are what God has given to us. If we don't learn to eat them, we must learn to eat them. In those days, when people were eating moringa, we said it was the food for the poor. Now it is also food for the rich. Having said that, I don't want us to look at the act of healing and health. I taught it twice for the sake of our women, to be able to look at the benefit of this health knowledge. How can they generate revenue? Because these days, people, when you are poor, you don't have money, it's a sickness. So we must look at how can we help our women or help ourselves to generate revenue. And we have talked about the graduates today that just graduated, they are going to apply it and they are going to generate revenue. It's not going to be free for all service. The MC told us that this is not free. They will apply it and they will cost it and you pay. Can you see the ability to generate revenue through the promotion of Islamic medicine? And I call it the aspect of spiritual healing. Agriculture. All we have said today, you cannot get the herbs, you cannot get the food without agriculture. It is the first job given to mankind. The first job that came into existence is given to mankind. In Nigeria, God has provided us with arable land. So why are we wasting time? I did a survey from the north and the south. I discovered that the north is blessed with plants. The north is blessed with more arable lands than the south. So what is God telling you? God is telling you the north should take seriously with agriculture, so that we can be able to provide the foods and even the herbal medicine. Her butter sauda is now grown in Maiduguri. There's a place in Maiduguri that grows habata sauda. One of my professors in pharmacy was able to apply habata sauda in the management of cancer, and for that has given him an international award. So you can see that the aspect of prophetic medicine is very important. The agriculture, we must learn to grow, use, and sell our produce. The current agricultural revolution, especially rice. You know, in those days, they were giving you rice that have stayed 6 months. And before they come to the land, it takes 3 months, gone along the sea. Do you imagine what was happening? Do you imagine the tendencies? But like I always say now, you grow your rice freshly prepared. Am I right? From the farm, you take it to the cook. And then in that rice that we have, there are a lot of nourishments. They say there is the parboiled rice, which has a lot of vitamins. And then there is basmati rice, which is rich in nutrients. But the traditional rice that we have, which is mostly brown in color, is blessed with nutrients. So let us go back, especially as Muslim ulama, Muslim people, to go and be cultivating our foods, to do more agriculture. And the small women, the women can have a garden. I've talked about garden. You grow some of these plants freshly, you take it, and you can make fresh soup, vegetable soup for your people. Islamic remedies, herbal medicine, and about to round up, current resurgence in the interest of natural medicine has provided an opportunity as the early days of Islamic medicine that this must be done by qualified personnel. We have begun to see the graduation we had today. They are qualified personnel. I want to emphasize on what he has said, concoctions. People will give you concoctions. I am from the Federal Ministry of Health. We are trying to regulate the practice of traditional medicine because most of them are not original. The real traditional medicine practice are the people ordained by God. In every family, God has given you either something of inheritance. If you have the art of healing, that means you are able to heal people, you are able to use the remedies. But these days, you have fake people going up and down, giving you all sorts of concoctions. Like we have said today, make sure you know the source of your remedy. It is very important. In conclusion, as a modern Orthodox pharmacist, my strive for knowledge encouraged me to research into traditional systems of healing, which led me also to take a look at Islamic prophetic medicine. This has broadened my knowledge of utilizing and promoting health with a focus on spirituality, holistic medicine, and allopathic medicine. This is very important. And I encourage all those professionals. I was so amazed and impressed that some of those that graduated today are people that are experts in health, in medical sciences. So it's going to make it easier for us. So I would say that let's practice medicine with the fear of Allah. Assalamu alaikum. Just to give you some tips, I'm very fond of giving tips wherever I go. I try to look at the brain needs food. What food do you give to your brain? So that we have better mental capacity. We scientists, we say, take omega-3 fatty acids. But I would say that in your seeds and your nuts, which you have there, is it groundnuts? Is it sesame seeds? Is it pumpkin nuts? Is it cashew nuts? Those are blessed with nutrients that is good for the brain. The olive oil is good for the brain. And we also have things that are like even the beans, the nuts, and the coconut, barley, and oats. Feed the brain with it. Thank you very much.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah. So, me, I've benefited a lot today. If you have not benefited in anything, you have been taught how to take care of your brain. And without your brain, you are nobody. Alhamdulillah. Everywhere, wherever you see nuts, start eating nuts. Anything nuts. Eat it and put it by the side of your bed. Can't you not do anything nuts, anything that you will call that they will end it with nuts. I just said it's good for your brain. Please. You at the time they will tell you, they will say, what is your phone number? You say, I've forgotten it. Until I open my phone. There is problem somewhere. I just said you should continue to eat nuts. It will assist your brain. Knowledge is wherever you can get it for Muslims. And part of the tip that I know it has been working is if you do have ulcer too much, take much of cabbage. If you do have ulcer, too much, take much of cabbage. That thing like football, the thing performs wonderfully well for ulcer. Wash it well, cut it, just be crushing it the way you eat kola nut, the way you eat, what do you call it? Everything like bitter cola, the way you eat it, just put it in your mouth and be crushing it. Inshallah, it's very good for ulcer. May Allah assist us. So inshallah, we'll be going to the next item on the agenda. But before we move quickly, I would like to introduce our professor, our Imam Professor Tawfiq Abdul Aziz is in our midst. Is the Imam of Abuja, University of Abuja. Because lawyers are not linguists. We only interpret English. We interpret your intention. There are other areas of knowledge. And what Abu Mazid has said that he has only limited himself to Islamic knowledge. But nobody can say those other ones that are prepared cleverly, taking cognizance of Quran wa Sunnah, are not to be used. Our Prof has only challenged us to think wider. Part of the problems we are having with patronage of products like this is because of materials. How to get those materials, eventually it makes them expensive. And we don't have people who are now trading in what? Importation of those materials that we use. It's the same set of people that are using them that will take the trouble of what? Trouble of getting them imported, trouble of looking for them wherever they are. You can see Abu Mazida said he traveled to Sudan just for, you can imagine. Patronage. Please, let's start exporting. Let's start investing into all these materials that we use for this exercise. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assist us. While we are waiting for one of our sisters, yes, I can see her, she's around now. While we are waiting for our sister, I will quickly call on Professor Salman Yakini for his own goodwill message. Professor Salman Yakini is a professor of mathematics.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, I don't have much to say. My own goodwill message is just that, well, we all know that sitting down wishing makes no man great. Allah has provided us with all what we need, but we must dig the bait. This seminar has provided us with the tools with which we can dig the bait. What I mean by that is, remember in the Quran also, it says we must seek knowledge. Even if you have to go to China to seek that knowledge. And we want to thank the organizers for blazing the trail. They've always organized this type of thing for the benefit of the Muslim Ummah. They want to extend boundaries of knowledge, and we need to encourage them. We need to support them. I want to congratulate them for a job well done.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank Almighty Allah for this opportunity that He has availed us. We also thank the organizers of this seminar. It has been highly rewarding, and we have been educated on the various aspects of therapies. And we have been essentially educated on other alternatives of curative that is available, which perhaps we are not probably aware of. Instead of spending huge sum of money in seeking treatment, we can get this one, and it is much, much better without side effects. Most of the orthodox medicine that we know has a lot of side effects. I once read about the side effect of Panadol. As common as Panadol is, that is available over the counter that everybody uses. If you see what was written as the side effect of it, one will probably not want to go near it. So the good about this therapy is that it is free of any side effect. So I want to encourage the Muslims to go along this line in seeking therapy or treatment. And I also want to commend the organizer, like we said, for this yearly opportunity they avail to us. We thank Almighty Allah, and we pray that they continue to work stronger in goodness for the woman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to personally congratulate the Minaret International for this very, very important and timely seminar. We thank Allah that they were able to organize it last year. We were here last year. They promised that by the grace of Allah, it will be a yearly affair. So we want to thank Allah for giving the organization the opportunity to be able to bring us together again this year. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to strengthen them and continue to make their affairs easy. I just want to mention that we will observe that some of these treatments, people will be talking about cost. The last speaker mentioned side effects. For instance, when you want a very good honey for treatment of an ailment, you cannot compare what you are going to pay for that honey and the effect you are going to have afterwards. That, compare it to either compromising the quality of the honey or the other alternatives that we call the conventional drugs. So the important thing is for us to be convinced that the treatment that is being preferred for us is the one that is going to give us solution to whatever problem that we are after. After all, what is the essence of involving yourself in cost that you will not get the benefits out of it? So the cost should not be the issue for us to consider. The important thing is to consider that what is being prepared for us is going to be very efficacious. So we thank Allah for the organizers. May Allah continue to strengthen them and give them the wherewithal to be able to organize it subsequently. And we should also remember, I'm sure we must have gotten their office addresses. Let us try to visit them. They have so many things. He mentioned the slogan, the CEO mentioned the slogan that anything Islamic, we stock it. So let us try and pay a visit to their office. If it is books, Islamic materials, and all whatnot, you will be able to get from them. And also, I'm sure a lot of us must be on the WhatsApp platform of the organization. We stand to benefit a lot. If you are not there, try as much as possible to contact them and ask your number to be included. May Allah continue to assist each and every one of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
I also want to congratulate the graduate of today, and I pray Allah will continue to bless their knowledge and continue to enrich them. I want to give a challenge to the minaret to try and increase the number of therapists that will be produced every year. This is the beginning, and they are doing well, producing 7 therapists. If you look at the population here today, if you have just 7 therapists produced in a year, even for this year alone, I don't think the 7 therapists are enough to take care of this population that are seated here today. But they've started. The journey has just begun, and I pray Allah will continue to bless the effort. They need to create more awareness about this program and about their short courses so that more people can enroll for the programs. I want to also say that Professor Ajarat has said something about Sunnah-based hospital. I think they should not just stop at producing therapists, but also let's take it to the next level of involving the Muslim community in Nigeria, the Ummah, to start something like the ones that Professor Ajarat presented. We can see samples from Malaysia, from Indonesia, and some other countries that she presented to us. We have the population in Nigeria to support such innovation. And we have the Muslim population that are rich, that are very rich, and Allah has really enriched to support such innovation. May Allah continue to bless all our efforts and accept all our efforts as ibadah.
So I will go quickly to the question and answer session. I'll be calling on our Imam. We have distributed questions that we believe should be answered publicly, and those who have raised issues concerning what is the cure for so, what is the cure for so, that is why we'll be having a free diagnosis immediately after this program. Please, you can move there and discuss with them, inshallah. Our therapists will move out now. You can go and meet them and they will consult with them, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Habibillah Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. With me, a few questions, inshallah, I'm going to answer them according to my own capacity and ability. However, before going to the questions, inshallah, I want to just in a minute say something briefly on the reason why we qualify this medicine as Islamic medicine or as prophetic medicine. Our dear Prof said that there should not be any cause for qualifying it as Islamic, and then I would have loved that Prof is around so that to make my own point of view. In a nutshell, I think it is right to qualify it as Islamic medicine or prophetic medicine. Why? Before why, I want to support the idea that these herbs we're talking about today, telbina and the rest, all these fruits, they were in existence before Prophet of Allah came on board. Right? So he didn't come and then to discover that this is called telbina, this is called ajwa. So he came and he met them. But why is it proper to call it Islamic medicine, prophetic medicine, and it is not proper not to call them those names? You remember Allah the Almighty says in the Quran, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْ. Even Prof quoted the verse today. وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ. Was Quran before Prophet of Allah? Eh? مَا هُوَ شِفَاء. Shifa means what? Prof, Shifa means what? Cure. Healings. And then all what Prophet of Allah prescribed. He prescribed them. He wasn't a therapist. He didn't learn pharmacy from any university. He was even unlettered. He cannot read, he cannot write. And we all knew about his history, how he was, who he was, and how he began his life. So all what he prescribed about combination of these herbs, add this to this, use this and use this, to us, they are ma'lumat tawqifiyya. They are defying knowledge given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why all what Prophet of Allah said, or what he did, according to our Imam Shafi, he said Prophet of Allah was nobody but interpreter of the whole Quran. So Quran says, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ, and there is no Quran in any other nation apart from Islamic nation, and there was no Quran before Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Prophet of Allah was on board, he came on board to interpret Shifa of the whole Quran. Allah says there is Shifa in the whole Quran. Prophet of Allah came on board to interpret those Shifa and to tell us that Shifa is in so herb, that Shifa so herb. However, Abu Masih has already said, you can't just say this herb is working, is good, then you can mix them anyhow. Then Prophet of Allah told us that take this one, mix it like this, and take it like this, and take it so time. So is it not prophetic anymore? Because Prophet of Allah was the one that told us that take this and take this, and push them together, and take them 3 times, or take them 2 times, or take them a day, and the rest. So today we are just making more discovery, more research on those what Prophet of Allah had already laid foundations for us. So to me, they remain prophetic, Islamic, because they came. The knowledge of what and what to combine was from Prophet of Allah, and Prophet of Allah got it from the whole Quran, sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Just, I have a few questions here. I'll just try to be fast about them. I want to clarify the ambiguity behind the quantification of orthodox medicine and with regards to dosage, which cannot be accurately. That means you are trying to ask that, you know, the orthodox medicine has a dosage, and people complain that all other medicine don't have a dosage. It is very important to know dosage depends on the formulation. Orthodox medicine, strictly, if you understand the way the orthodox drugs are prepared, we use a lot of chemicals, very hazardous chemicals to prepare drugs. So that means for us to be able to prescribe it or use it for managing ailment, it must be dosed. But you compare prophetic medicine or herbal medicine, whereby the body accepts it easily, because there is that symbiotic marriage between man and plant, which we said earlier. So there are lesser side effects. And it is those according to the formulation. I always say don't compare the dosage of orthodox with that of herbal or prophetic medicine. Each one has its own clothes, and each one should be used appropriately. Assalamu alaikum. Please, I want to know the meaning of lamba zakar. I was saying that is franking incense, and I've seen it there outside. But I just talked about the Prophet used it a lot to improve memory. You wash it, soak it in the night with warm water, it becomes gelatinous and is taken. Either you can add it to milk, it improves memory, especially for our children. Please, can the formulated Islamic medicine has validity period and storage? Of course, every formulation must have an expiry date, and the storage conditions must be stated, because in every formulation there are processes, and that formulation can break, or there can be antimicrobial contamination depending on the way it is formulated and stored. So it is important we have expiry date and validity date, I would say. Which of the black seed is medicinal? Is it the one that grows in Saudi Arabia, Egypt also? Every black seed is supposed to be Nigeria sativa, and it has the same composition. It's only when you look at the different content of the composition, and that depends on the exposure to the analysis of that seed to see whether this one from this has high content of what you want in it or that. That is why it's not just to look at any black seed and take it. It should be good and be exposed to evidence scientifically. It will help us a lot. It has high doses, produces toxicity. You know, people just ask you, take black seed, drink the oil, drink the oil. There are side effects that it does in high doses, so we must be very careful to using this.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just want to say that one of the things that I think in the last seminar Sheikh Abu Mazida mentioned was that some of the spiritual ailments have physical symptoms. An example is one of the questions that is asked here, schizophrenia or epilepsy that you mentioned. There are some times that some types of epilepsy are amenable to the use of carbamazepine that you mentioned in her own question, and other anti-epileptic agents.
but there are some spiritual attacks that manifest in the form of epilepsy. So what I will advise is when you start using the orthodox medicine and you are not getting the cure you expect, then quickly move over to the prophetic medicine, inshallah. I've had some experiences. Like in my clinic, I see a lot of women that come with miscarriages. There are some women that come with maybe 4 or 5 consecutive miscarriages. When I start seeing those kind of patients, I sit them down quietly in another corner and ask them, do you have any other problem? Do you also having things like dreams, or is there somebody that comes and whenever he sleeps with you, that is when you have miscarriage, or is there nothing that happens that causes this miscarriage? And I've been quite surprised that so many occasions when I sit down and take my time to ask some spiritual aspect, because most of those patients will have done so many investigations and everything is normal. And everything would, from the investigations we've done, we cannot really pinpoint one particular reason why the person is having such miscarriages. And alhamdulillah, most of them, I refer them to Islamic therapists like Sheikh Abu Mazida, and alhamdulillah, they've been able to sort out their problems. So sometimes some spiritual problems have physical symptoms. So we should, if you start using a particular therapy and you're not getting any improvement, please know that you have the option of prophetic medicine. The other question I have here is the issue of HIV/AIDS, that doesn't it have a cure? For now, scientists have not yet found a cure, but we believe, since Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that for every illness there is a cure, definitely there is a cure for HIV. It's just that, as we said, it's only those that have the knowledge, they have the knowledge, and those that don't know it, do not know it. If you remember in astronomy, previously we were told that there are only 9 planets, isn't it? But in the Quran, we know it is much more than that. And with time, scientists have come to discover that there are actually much more than that. So maybe with time, the cure for cancer and the cure for HIV will now become manifest to scientists. But as at today, we're still doing a lot of research in HIV. The other question is about prolonged and excessive menstrual flow, and also body pains. As we said, there are so many reasons for you to have excessive menstrual flow. It depends on your age. If you're in the younger age group, we'll be looking at things like abnormal uterine bleeding. If you're in the older age group, we're going to be looking at things like pelvic infection. We're going to look at uterine fibroids and so many other reasons. So my advice would be for this person to see a gynecologist if you have an excessive menstrual flow, and we'll have to pinpoint the reasons behind the excessive menstrual flow, because there are so many reasons. It's not just one single reason. The last one talks about body pains when you're about to slim. My own advice again is, as much as possible, watch what you eat, check your weight. If you are more than 80 kilograms, as much as possible, reduce your weight to be something less than 80 kilograms. And whenever you want to sleep, please follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Perform ablution, lie on your right, read Ayatul Kursi, Amana Rasul, the Mu'awwadatain, and then rub it on your body. It will help to improve it, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Let me just add a remedy for sleep, because it's very important. A lot of people complain about not having good sleep. But the last thing is, it's good to have a warm glass of milk, very nice fresh milk. You can buy that in supermarkets. And then you add 2 tablespoonfuls of pure honey, because the milk is able to, it contains a protein called tryptophan. And this tryptophan helps to promote sleep.
Assalamu alaikum. Number 1 is, please, is Kayamata Islamic? I think the females here know what we call Kayamata. How many of our brothers know it? Very few. Okay, Alaji know it. You see, this kind of thing ordinarily is done by our women to sustain marriage. That's the pure truth. But one thing is this: there are 2 problems identified with it. Number 1 is that what is used in preparing whatever you are using, you don't know the source. Do you know that some spiritual preparation can be demonic? I make bold to say, root work But people today are so desperate that to get things to work, they will have to include some magic. Let me give you an experience. A patient came to the minaret. He complained that whenever he sleeps, every time, whenever, he dreams of walking. He would be walking. What kind of walk do you do in your dream? He will be carrying bricks as if he's building house. And where do you carry it to? He said he will climb up, building a very big house to the sky. Where they stop today, he will continue the second day when he sleeps. And whenever he wakes up, the person is here as I am talking. Whenever he wakes up, he will be so tired, he will not be able to go for subuhi. He will remain on his bed till 11 o'clock. And he will have to survive with pain relievers. One of the courses we do at the institute, let me tell you, if you are doing our certificate courses, you do 6 courses. 1, Tafsirul Ahlam, dream analysis, not dream interpretation, dream analysis. With the Quran and Sunnah, how do you analyze dream? With the purpose, with the aim of interpreting it. Number 2, you do Adab al-Ilaj, ethics of the healing practice. Number 3, you do Dawah wal Irshad, guidance and counseling, how you counsel your patients. Then the 3 others are the core courses. Ijama, Rukia, and Al-Ashab, that is using the prophetic apps. Now, in dream analysis, there is a way we analyze dreams. And there are some students know all those things. Just tell them your dream. You will see the miracle that will happen. So something now happened when we had it. We listened to it. We now ask him, what kind of work does he do? That person. He told us his work. I don't want to mention it. We asked him series of questions. At the end, we now told him that, what kind of soap do you use for bath? Do you add something to your food? You will ask me that, how did our mind go to those things? It's our area. Do you understand? We now got to know that something ordinarily that is not meant for spiritual purpose, something ordinary, that you could have added to your food, you could have swallowed with water, with the intention that you are using roots or herbs. He has been on it. A particular malam who deals in herbs gave him prophetic medicine people. They gave him to resolve a particular problem. That thing happens to be demonic. So, and one of the ingredients, we have to be a thing that we make life easy for him. He was using it for something else. But one of the positive effects is that, positive in quotes, he will have to stabilize his business. So whenever he has that dream, in fact, his business will be so good that particular week. It's like doing money rituals. And it's an ordinary thing that is swallowed. We now told him to stop drinking that thing. Malam, there is no problem now. It's ordinary something. Look at it. Stop it. Then he stopped it. Then we gave him a scar. The something stopped immediately. What he has been going through for the past. Now, he now said, in the course of his dream, before he came to us, what actually, someone brought him to us. Before the person came to us, before he or she came to us, something happened. As he was going up, carrying bricks, plenty brick, up, climbing. They were building houses with other people. He now got to a stage that his feet almost slip from the top. That was when he woke up. Wallahi, if his feet had slipped, he would wake up dead.
or in the alternative, with something that they will just say he cannot stand, they will now rush him to Professor Ajara's hospital. They will not know that it's not even a hospital. They will now be giving injection. They will be doing massaging. Do you understand? And no solution. So be very careful. Zainab, you are the government. There are a lot of criminals in prophetic medicine. There are plenty. Wallahi, they are causing a lot of problems. Look, another thing I want to talk about is don't be desperate. Don't exploit people. Don't be desperate. We told our students that what will be theirs will be their own. They shouldn't exploit. Don't exploit women. Don't exploit them financially. Why? Because people don't have job. Anybody just move to prophetic medicine and start doing this thing. Number one, you had diseases into people's body, sicknesses, those things that are not tested. Before we could tell you to come and buy this thing, you need to know what it has gone through. And if you want to know what it's made of, we will just tell you. Some of them have been mentioned here. That's number one. Number two, don't mess up yourself spiritually. You drink some things, some gin. Some people use their hand to put gin into their own body. We have done rukia. I was looking like this, and the jinn was saying that he invited me. He brought me into, because when you invite jinn, they will come. Two things will make them come. Either something they fear. One sister came to do short course with us, and we give them specimens. There were plenty. We told them about a particular herbs. We said this herb, so if there is someone that is possessed, don't allow the herbs to move close to the person. The woman got home. The woman is laughing. The woman has seen me. Stand up and prove me wrong. Ajarikia, stand up. She did that. She now got home. She was now, they said, this is your course. What are you learning there? You know, some people thought we were joking. She was now bringing everything out. That they even told us that this one, as one woman, she did not know that the woman was even having a problem in her life. Just smell that thing. Hey! That's how the jinns started talking. And we have equally taught them that jinns don't have power. They only have deception. Confront the jinn. This is how you undo it. She was initially scared. Then she remembered that she confronted the jinn. Eventually, the jinn ran away. That's she. I did not know that she's even here. My face just went there. So there are some things you eat, you put yourself in trouble. No hospital, no general hospital can cure it. Wallahi. And let me tell you something. There are some spiritual problems. Wallahi, no rukia can remove it. I make bold to say, students know all those things. What are those things that can bring affliction into you that is irresolvable? You must know them. May Allah guide us. So when you do short courses, you help your family. Now, Kayamata, avoid it for two reasons. One, you don't know what is made of. Yes, you want to be enjoyed, you want to get it now. There are prophetic apps that can enhance sexuality. There are some African roots too. Of course, we too do it. Any of our students here, there was a day in the class, none of them is here. They would have testified to it. In class, we got to this sexuality something. And after the whole thing, we now said, okay, assignment. Everybody should do this assignment. And they are married, men, women. This one, go and use it at home and write a report. With your husband and your wife. They wrote it and they brought report. Ask them when you meet them. Do you get it now? As we do this thing, we also stabilize marriage. Me too, I use those things. Oh. If you want to buy it, you see it outside. That's why I said you should buy yogurt. You don't want to buy yogurt. I just pity you. Your wife will run away. So, stop Kayamata. Is it possible for someone to have spiritual husband while you are already married? Secondly, is it possible for having spiritual husband prevented someone to have children in life? Yes. Number one, yes. Number two, yes. Thirdly, is it possible to have spiritual husband without knowing? Yes. Lastly, is it possible to have a spiritual group without you knowing again? Is there anything like this in Islam? That spiritual group is what I'm not going to answer. We don't know what is spiritual group. That someone belongs to witches. Come for the courses. We have explanation for it in the Quran and Sunnah. We treat it too. So this is not a class. I can't continue. Now here, you can meet the therapist there. They will diagnose you. And they will give you paper. If you want to do detoxification hijama, I also want to do it. You want to detoxify. It's good. You can book for it. If you have any ailment, discuss with them. They will book you against tomorrow, inshallah, and they will tell you the time. When the time is gone, that's the end. There is between 9 a.m. to 11:30. By 11:30, we are not doing hijama for anybody. Again, and it's better when you are coming for hijama to come with empty stomach. It's better. That's if you are booked for it. And another thing, when you are coming, come with your plastic, a bowl, and come with your flask of hot water. That's all. And any other thing is free. But if you are not doing it here now and you want to come later, those who have done with us, a lot of people come, they line up, they will tell you what it costs them. Then for apps, then they diagnose you, they will tell you which apps you buy. It's highly subsidized. That apps. For Rukia too, they will do it tomorrow, men to men, women to women. That's what we do. We thank you very much for coming. Do you know that we are very happy that people came from all parts of Nigeria? There are people who came from Kaduna. In fact, if you have asked to see me today and I didn't give you attention, wallahi, I have not looked down on you. The stress is heavy. So there's no way I could be attending to you while the program is going on. Those who have come from Kaduna, from Benin Kebbi, from Mina, and from Zamfara, we recognize your presence. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and reward you. And those who have come from the southwest, from Lagos, from Oyo, from all those places, and from Port Harcourt, we appreciate you too. May Allah bless your effort. This is what we do at the Institute of Islamic Therapy. We learn it and we do what we know. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our effort. In whichever way you think you can support us, you are welcome. You can meet them if you want to do this course. If you are within Abuja, you can register for short courses. You can also register for long courses. You can choose to do only Rukia. And if you like, your own may be only Ijama. Your own may also be only prophetic apps. And if you choose to do 2 out of these 3, you are entitled to a discount of 15%. And if you have done short courses before and you want to do certificate course, you will be given as much as about 25% discount. For those who have done short courses and they want to do certificate courses. And all what you are going to use, the textbooks, the specimens, the coat, lab coat, not the lab coat, the theater clothes that Professor Ajara wears. That's where I've always been telling, between me and her, we are level. We are the same level. Do you get it now? You can't. She's a professor. Do you get it now? We really appreciate you. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Inshallah, I'll be calling on Brother Sirajuddin Abdul Aziz to lead us in the closing prayer.
اللهم من هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومدد كلماته سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.